Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video we are going to discuss about the depth of field in 3dsMAX. So for that I have created one small setup that consists of one cylinder and few colorful balls I have kept. Now for the depth of fields, first thing what we need is we need to add a camera in the scene. For that I'll just go to the command panel. We have this camera tab and I'll be taking a physical camera. So just click on the physical camera and I'm placing the camera in the top viewport like this. Now afterwards we can convert this perspective viewport into a camera viewport, and we need to make necessary adjustment to the camera. So here we are done with the placement and adjustment of the camera, and now since we don't require all the viewports, I'll be changing the layout from here to two viewports like this. So the first one is on the left I have this top viewport, and the second one is the front viewport. But what I want is a top viewport as well as a camera viewport. So I'll convert this, I'll change this to camera, and now I have on the left the top viewport and on the right I have my camera viewport. So let's have a quick render of this first before we add the depth of field or before we activate the depth of field. So I'll just render it, and so everything in this image is in focus. As you can see here, the cylinders, all the colorful balls in the background, everything looks properly focused. So now we are going to add the depth of field. We'll go to the modify tab, and we have these options like the physical camera rollout. Under the physical camera rollout, once we scroll this thing slightly upwards, we get an option that is enable depth of field right here. So I'll just click this enable depth of field, and we'll see what happens with this. We'll have a quick render. So even after enabling this option, nothing much happened because there are some more settings which are required. So what I'll do is I'll just select the camera. As you can see, it is selected. Now we have to set the focus. Now for that you have two options. One is the use target distance, and the second one is the custom. So use target distance is we can select the target from here and shift the target wherever we want. And second thing what we have to do is, after selecting the camera, we have to set the aperture value. So right now it is 3. Right now the value is 3.0. that is quite high, so I'll have to reduce the value. So I'll keep it to 1.4, and then afterwards we'll see how it renders. Okay, now in this image you will notice that the things in the background are slightly blurred, and in case we want more blur, that is also possible by reducing this aperture value. So before that what we'll do is we want the cylinder in focus and other things in not in focus, or we can say blurred. So in that case what we have to do is I'll first select the camera, and in the physical camera rollout we have this option to set the focus. That is, right now this use target distance is active, but I'll go for a custom option that allows you to set manually the focus on any object. So let's bring this down. What I want is, as you can see in the top viewport, this is my cylinder and this focus is somewhere else. So I'll have to bring it back like this. As you can see, my focus have shifted to this cylinder and other things are as it is. And now afterwards I'll go for this aperture value and just reduce this value further. So let's go for 0.9 or something like that, and let's have a quick render of this. After decreasing the aperture value, we are getting some sort of depth of field. The cylinder is in focus, whereas the things in the background along the distance, the things are getting blurred. Now in case you want to shift the focus, now what I want is in the first example, what we did is we wanted the cylinder in focus, whereas the other things in the background were blurred. Now what I want is I want to shift the focus. For that, what you have to do is select the camera, and after that in the physical camera rollout, just scroll and you have to set and shift the focus. So I'll just zoom out, and you have this option that is focus distance. So I'm shifting that to the objects which are in the end, and the aperture value also you can reduce or increase depending on the requirement. So I'm just reducing it, and further I'll shift. So now you can see these objects which are kept in the end are in focus, whereas the cylinder is not in the focal distance. So what I have done is shifted the focus from the cylinder to the objects which are in the background, and let us see how it works. Now in this image, as we can see, the cylinder is not at all in focus, whereas the other elements or the other balls which were kept behind are in focus. So that way we can shift the focus manually wherever we want. We can set the focus distance, and accordingly we will achieve the output. Now again I'll just change the focus to the cylinder, and the background I want to keep in unfocused, or we can say we want to make that thing blur. So I'll just bring this focus distance down, and I'll place it on the cylinder. Here you can see you have this cylinder, and I'll just bring it further down, and you have this option aperture. So when I increase the value of this, you will see you have these two lines, and these decides the focus. Now this object is going to be in focus, whereas the other things slowly gradually with the distance they are going to be slightly blurred. In case you want to achieve some kind of bokeh effect, or some people pronounce it as bokeh, so it is totally up to you. You want to pronounce it bokeh or bokeh. So that effect, how to achieve, we'll see. So in this physical camera, just move on to the bokeh depth of field. So just open that rollout, and in the rollout you have these options, that is bokeh depth of field. Aperture shape is either circular or bladed. So circular means it looks like a ring, or we have these three options available, like center, bias, ring effect, or we can have optical vigneting, or we can have anisotropic lens. So depending on the requirement we can choose any of this. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the ring, so I'll just increase the ring value. If you go towards the left, it will create some kind of glow, and if you go towards the right, it creates some sort of ring. So I'll just click on this, but whenever we want this bokeh effect, make sure that aperture value has to be reduced. So we'll go to the physical camera again, and in this right now the aperture is 1.86, that I'll reduce down, and I'll make it 0.9 or something, and we'll see how it works. Then I'll render the scene. Now in this rendered image you can see these small rings in the background, so that is giving some that is some sort of bokeh effect. And instead of ring, if you want something you have two options for the bokeh. So right now I'll just close this physical camera rollout and we'll open the bokeh depth of field rollout. In that if option called bladed, once you click on bladed, you have options like you can create a pentagon, hexagon, or octagon kind of shape. So let's keep it the value to 6, that is a hexagon, and afterwards we'll have to again set, if required we can set the aperture, or just reduce, but we'll just make it 0.5. let's see how it works. 0.5, and let's render. So now the bokeh rings over here, instead of circle, they are like a hexagon. So that is how we can change the shape. Either we can go for bladed or we can go for circular. Now if I further reduce the aperture, let's keep it 0.1 and see what happens. Okay, now you can see the depth of field looks too much exaggerated, but as you can see in the background you have these hexagon bokeh rings. So that is how we use the depth of field and bokeh effect in 3ds Max. Thank you for watching.